Hi, I'm Priscilla Saligo from Authentic Food. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make my delicious vanilla almond nut milk recipe that we use in our family a lot. And I'm going to be using raw almonds today. You can see that I've got them in some soaking water. I want to show you the step-by-step process for this nut milk. And I've used half a cup of almonds. That's pre-soaked, so before soaking, and it plumps up to be about 1 cup of soaked almonds after I've soaked them overnight, and that's usually between about 8 to 12 hours. And I've also used double the amount of soaking water ratio to nuts. So if I've used half a cup of almonds, I will have at least 1 cup of fresh filtered water inside of my glass bowl to leave overnight. And the reason why we soak our nuts, especially the nuts with the brown skins, is because they contain enzyme inhibitors. And basically what they're doing is they're inhibiting the digestion inside of our bodies. So we want to be able to soak them. Soaking them makes them more digestible, it makes them sproutable, it makes the nut come more alive, and that life force translates into us, which I think is fantastic. Also, with making nut milk, you want to make sure if you have a white nut that you would like to use, like a cashew or a macadamia nut or even a pine nut or a combination of these, you don't need to soak the nuts. Also, just a bit of a word of advice on Brazil nuts. You don't need to soak Brazil nuts either. So if you want to make a nut milk in a pinch, it's quite easy to make it with the Brazil nut because they don't have enzyme inhibitors. A lot of people don't realize that with Brazil nuts, and also they don't absorb the water like these other nuts do. Okay, so I'm going to take you through to the next step, which will be our ingredients. Okay, so I've just rinsed all of my almond nuts out into a sieve, and I like to rinse my nuts several times. I like to do it about 5 or 6 times just to make sure that I've washed all of the enzyme inhibitors away, and I like to wash the nuts in, once again, fresh filtered water. So here we have our ingredients to make this amazing delicious nut milk. We have 2 cups of freshly filtered water. We also have half a cup of pre-soaked organic almonds, and now we have 1 cup of organic almonds after soaking. We also have 2 pitted medjool dates. You can use any dates you wish. For a lower GI glycemic index sweetener, you might like to perhaps put in something like coconut nectar, or you could also leave the sweetener out altogether. Okay, we've also got a vanilla pod, a fresh vanilla bean, and a nut milk bag, and these are amazing. I use this daily for my son when I'm making his fresh nut milk. Okay, so before we go ahead and blend up our almond milk in the blender, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a tip or trick. When I make my son's almond milk for him daily, I like to use the almonds obviously because it is the most alkaline of all the nuts, but also after I've soaked the nuts, I go ahead and peel their little jackets off them. So you can see here that just popped right off. And it's really wonderful because children, and my son included, are very, very textural. And so when you're doing this, it makes for a smoother milk. All right, so I'll just set that aside and we'll go ahead and start blending up all of our delicious ingredients. So as I said before, I have a vanilla pot, and you can do this 2 ways. If you have a high-speed blender like mine, you can blend up the whole entire pod. For those that don't have the high-speed blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, you can go ahead and just make an incision along the length of the bean and then drag out the seeds which are inside. You can just pull them out with the knife and put them straight into the blender, and you can reserve the bean carcass for waters or to flavored waters. I love to make vanilla water. And you can use it for just flavoring different elixirs and things like that. So today I'm going to go ahead and chop it up with my knife. When you're holding a knife too, if you do have a big kitchen knife, try and hold it down here. It's much easier to guide it, and you've got a lot less chance of actually cutting yourself. So just chopping up our vanilla bean. It smells really, really lovely. And we'll go ahead and pop that into the Vitamix. So we're using the whole vanilla bean today. We're also putting in our 1 cup of soaked almonds. In goes our medjool dates, and of course you don't have to use a sweetener if you don't want to. And 2 cups of fresh filtered water. Now just to let you know too, sometimes you might prefer to just put the nuts in and the water and strain it and be done with it that way. You might like to add things in later on. If you add the milk back into the blender, you might want to add things like frozen chopped up bananas, blueberries, whatever, to flavor it, to fluff it up and make it a really yummy thick shake or milkshake as well. Really and truly the sky's the limit with all the different creations you can come up with nut milks. It's really wonderful. Okay, so we have everything in there and we're going to go ahead and blend it up and then strain it through our nut milk bag. Okay, so our nut milk is ready. And the reason why I can tell that the nut milk is ready is because the crunching around the blender of the solid nuts has come to a stop. If you overblend, you'll find that sometimes the fibers will go through the mesh of the nut milk bag and you'll get like a funny gritty sort of a milk, a more pulpy milk. I like to have mine really smooth, so try not to overblend. As soon as you hear that crunching sound stopped, then it's ready to be strained through the nut milk bag. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. I like to use a cylinder jug. It's much easier than using a wide bowl because then I'd like to pour it out. And also it stops from any little accidents occurring. For example, if I was to pour the milk and it goes all over the top of the milk bag, then I'm going to end up with a whole bunch of fiber and have to do it again inside of my milk. So just to make things easier, try and get a container where you can actually fit the mouth of the nut bag all the way around. Okay, so I'm just going to gently hold the nut bag and pour in the delicious vanilla almond milk. It smells really wonderful. It smells great. Okay, I'm going to grab my drawstring very quickly, and this is the easy part. This is where we just start to milk. So you're milking the nut milk bag to draw out all the milk. I don't know if you can see that, but the milk is coming out pretty fast. Also, try and think good thoughts, because I think that that really translates into your food as well. Okay, so we've pretty much squeezed out all of our milk from our strainer, and we've got a delicious, amazing, smooth, creamy, wonderful vanilla almond milk in the jug. Now you could also do a heavier milk if you wanted to by using less water. You could almost make like a heavy cream as well, and we like to use the creams in things like ice creams and other desserts as well. And you can also make a thinner milk if you want to, if you prefer it to be thinned out, just by simply adding some more fresh filtered water as well. So inside of my strainer, inside of my nut milk bag here, I just want to show you what I have. I have something that's very special left over, and unfortunately some people don't know what to do with this, and you can do a lot with this. I'm going to put some into the bowl here just so that you can see it. This is called the nut pulp, and I love to make lots of delicious desserts, breads, crackers, biscotti. I made my son's birthday cake, his 2-year-old birthday cake, just recently. It's a delicious choc mint cake, and I made it with the base of it with all of his leftover almond pulp from drinking all of his milks, which I think was pretty funny and very eco-friendly at the same time. So you can actually freeze this up in your freezer, and it'll probably last for anywhere between 6 weeks to 3 months, depending on if you're putting it in a regular freezer or a deep freeze. I absolutely love to freeze. I never waste this. I always freeze my nut milk pulps, and that goes for any nut milk pulp that I use. If I'm using a seed such as hemp seed, which by the way you don't need to soak, for my son, which is full of omegas, what I usually do is I just get rid of the extra hemp that I have left over. I don't go ahead and freeze that up. So usually just from the nut milks, because you can really make some delicious cookies, all kinds of different things from this. Okay, so here's my favorite part where I actually get to taste test the milk. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour this out into a lovely glass, a milkshake glass. And I'm going to have to try it and let you know how it is. Oh my goodness, the taste is really, really, really good. It's a delicious recipe. It's really easy to make. It's fun and quick to make. Children love it. People will really enjoy this milk, and you'll never, ever, ever want to buy store-bought milk again. You can make it fresh in your kitchen. Okay, so I want to thank you so much for coming and watching this video today. I really appreciate you being on here with me. And for this recipe and for more recipes, please visit us at www.rawthenticfood.com. You can probably hear my son in the background with my cameraman husband singing out, "Mommy, you can try some almond milk tonight, okay? I love you." Okay, time to say goodbye. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me.